Midnight, the road is empty, headlights slicing wet asphalt. The radio hisses. You're driving a little too fast, as if you want to outrun the dark. When she appears in the beams, tall, thin, in a white dress soaked through. She doesn't wave, she only looks. She leans to the window and whispers, "Please, take me home." You unlock the door. She slips into the back seat. The air turns needle cold. When you turn toward an old stone fence, the back seat is empty. Only the cold remains, as if a door never fully closed. This is one of the world's most persistent legends, the vanishing hitchhiker. A ghost asks for a ride, gives an address, and disappears on the way. Or at cemetery gates. Names change, years change, causes change, but the composition is the same. Tonight, we drive through the best-known cases, from Chicago's Mary to England's Bluebell Hill, and ask why these stories never grow old. Chicago, Archer Avenue. For decades, men told the same story. A quiet blonde in a pale ballroom dress asks for a ride, sometimes to a dance hall, sometimes straight to Resurrection Cemetery. She sits in the back, speaks softly. At the gates, she melts into the night like breath on glass. Cold settles on the seat as if winter brushed past your shoulder. Who was she? Some say a girl who died after a dance in the early 1930s. Others name a different year and name. No single answer, yet the legend is anchored. A road, a gate, ballrooms nearby. A neighborhood bar keeps a quiet Sunday ritual and an empty seat for Mary. A tiny ceremony that turns a story into tradition. As long as cabs roll down Archer Avenue at night, the story breathes. Jamestown, North Carolina, an old overpass everyone calls Lydia's Bridge. In rain, drivers see a soaked girl in a pale dress. "Please take me home," she says, climbing into the back. She names a familiar turn. When the car pulls near, she's gone, the seat cool to the touch. People say Lydia was coming home from a dance and never made it. Since then, her route loops around this bridge. Why does Lydia's story hold so firmly? Anchors. The bridge stands in daylight. Old accidents from the 1920s to 30s, newspaper clippings, addresses you can point to. When tragedy is tied to a landscape, it becomes a knot in memory, a span, a highway number, a name on a sign, a story you can literally drive Dallas. White Rock Lake. A pale girl in a wet white dress stands by the dark water. She asks for Gaston Avenue. She sits in the back. A wet stripe marks the seat. She says little. At the address, the driver turns, and no one is there. Only the cold and the faint scent of damp silk in his hands. Versions drifted over time. In one, she drowned in the lake. In another, she died after a dance. Journalists traced early tellings and noticed the core never changes. The wet dress, the quiet voice, the disappearance at the doorstep. For locals, it's no longer just a scare. It's part of the city's folklore, a shadow peeking from the park each autumn. San Francisco Bay Area, Niles Canyon Road, narrow, coiled, cautious even by day. At night, people tell of a white girl or white witch at the cliff's edge. Sometimes she asks for a ride. Sometimes she walks beside the car, gliding in the guardrail's wet reflection. Dates drift. Some tie her to an anniversary, some to the last day of February. But the motif holds: a dangerous bend, rain, a sudden chill, and the sense that not all passengers are visible. Easton, Connecticut, a white lady near old cemetery gates. Often she isn't thumbing a ride, just walking the roadside until she's suddenly in your headlights. Pedestrians speak of a swish of fabric and a strange hush. Drivers reach for the volume dial as cold breathes across the cabin. The legend is old, argued over for generations, and it always returns to one refrain. The road remembers. Across the ocean, Kent, England. The A229 near Bluebell Hill, where a 1960s crash seeded countless reports of a girl in white. Here the form often flips. A driver sees a young woman in the lane, brakes, certain he's struck her, jumps out and finds only night. Knees shaking, he calls it in. The newspapers return year after year to the same line. She looked real. Why do these stories persist? First, the image. A young woman in white signals unfinished life, an interrupted road, a wedding that never happened. In headlights, a white dress tells you everything. Somewhere, someone was never welcomed home. Simple, visual, unforgettable, easy to retell without proof. Second, the road. Tight curves, wet paint, reflected light, a tired driver, and rain that erases the world's edges. The brain completes pictures from a few strokes. On risky stretches, we feel someone else beside us. A shadow shifts, a branch taps, a silhouette flashes in the mirror. The legend warns as much as it haunts. Slow down, watch the line, remember the bend. Third, place memory. Every tale has anchors, a bridge, a dance hall, a gate, a name on a porch. You can touch them by day, show friends, photograph them. When a route becomes part of the story stops being abstract. People drive Archer Avenue, stop at Lydia's Bridge, circle White Rock Lake, and the legend takes root in daily life. Small rituals grow, a flower here, a note on a fence, a glass on a bar. Media keeps the engine warm. Papers, TV, blogs, tours. Each season they freshen the plot and add details. One year it's a bride, another year a student. One writer stresses the cabin cold, another the wet mark that won't dry till morning. The more variations we hear, the stronger the feeling that everyone's circling one truth. And now you're back on that night road. You reach the address she gave. The house is dark, curtains drawn, old letters on the mailbox, a familiar surname. You cut the engine and turn to the back seat. Empty. On the upholstery, a damp, veil-thin trace. A draft slips through the window crack. You step toward the porch and stop. Why? Who would you wake at this hour? What would you say? I brought your daughter home. They say the lost return to where their road broke. Some ask to be driven home. Some warn of a bend you can't see in rain. Some only want to feel a car floating through the quiet once more, imagining an ending that could have been kinder. If you ever see a figure in white between midnight and dawn, don't file it under just a scare. Maybe it's the road itself remembering and asking us to be careful. A trucker once said he picked her up at a forest bus stop in heavy rain. Shivering, she asked him to drive with the radio off. Halfway, she offered a handkerchief. I'm sorry about the water. He reached her address, turned, and the seat was empty. The handkerchief remained. In the morning, he brought it back. An older woman opened the door. Seeing the cloth, she spoke softly. We've kept a few like this for years. And closed the door, as if words could spill something sacred. Old letters to editors sound alike. Drove late, gave a girl a ride. She said it wasn't far. Calm voice, very tired. When we turned by the cemetery, the car seemed to exhale, and I drove on alone. Some write of fog and wet hair, some of sudden silence in the speakers, some of a soldier's overcoat and a morning discovery that a name on the intercom matched a name on a stone. Skeptics are right about perception's traps. Night, fatigue, repeating landmarks, glare on wet glass, attention slipping at risky spots, all push the brain to find human-shaped answers. Add charged markers, cemeteries, bridges, old nameplates, and a plot assembles itself. But a rational map doesn't erase the driver's reality. A voice heard, a chill felt, a fear you won't argue with in the dark. Treat such places gently. Don't hunt for a headline at night. Don't stop in live lanes for the story. Drive carefully, hold your speed, think of those who never made it home. Legends aren't trophies for a camera, they're reminders. If you see a figure in white, ease off the gas and see yourself home.